Okay, good morning and you're welcome to yet another episode of Mr. Selfcare Live happening every Sunday morning. And wherever you're watching us from, we are so privileged to have you this morning. Thank you so much for making it here. Thank you so much for keeping yourself here. And we're also glad to have you here. A special morning from our studios. We are going to talk about a very special topic, something that is a little off from the medical things that we've been discussing ever since this show started, but yet something very important. We want to go spiritual. You see, I normally tell people that life is a 360 wheel of life. There's finance, there's health, there are hobbies, there is family and friends, there are investments, a lot of things. So they want to look at the spiritual aspect in relation to the health being of a person or a human being. But if you're here for the very first time, I kindly ask you to subscribe, to comment, and make this your home channel every Sunday morning. We are having a special person, a special friend of mine, for about the last 18 plus years, all the way from Watoto Church East, in the early 2000s, up today. She's a special person. Some of you have seen her on the big screens in the country, but though we are privileged to have her. Uh, yes, Brenda, you're welcome.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you for hosting me today on your morning show.
And thank you so much for accepting to be part of this show. How have you been?
I've been fine. How about you?
Been okay. How is everything? How is that part of the country where you are right now? And how is your family?
My family is great. We are blessed and everything is fine. Even the part of the country, everything is moving on well.
Good. Our viewers are very anxious about the topic we are going to discuss today. I have a lot
Mm.
of questions in my DP, in my DM, and I'm really also very anxious to hear from you about this special topic.
Mm.
Um, what gives you the joy to speak about the topic that we are going to talk about today? That is anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and the fear of death.
Mainly, it's because of experience. It's based on what I went through. I don't actually wish anyone not
Mm,
to have who is going through this, not to have this information out there because I wish I knew what I knew when I was going through it. I wouldn't have reached where I'd reached.
okay. So
Mm.
let's dive into the topic. Brenda, what spiritual, what's anxiety from the spiritual aspect of life?
Okay, usually I used not to know what anxiety is. We used to watch movies and
Mm,
then someone is like, I'm anxious. So we used to think it's a white man thing, anxiety. In Africa,
mm,
people say, oh, blood wa abazungu. In
yeah.
Africa, tetulina.
Mm,
So actually, I also had that sort of mindset, thinking it's
mm,
a white man thing. So, there are symptoms when you're getting anxiety whereby you start feeling funny, your body responds like you get to be scared all of a sudden you feel like something bad is going to happen, yet
mm,
there is actually nothing that is going to happen. Like there is how you start feeling within, but you don't know, you're not
mm,
educated enough to know that is anxiety. So like it keeps on, like the symptoms become stronger and then you become affected in so many other ways that
mm,
actually you don't pay attention to actually what is making me anxious, what is
mm,
the cause, how can I go about it. So you
mm,
just be there not knowing.
mm,
Eventually they start saying, maybe you're having problems,
mm,
yet you can't actually point out which exact problem that is making you to be anxious.
mm,
So usually what I discovered with this, like it's something that keeps on progressing.
mm,
People don't like talk about spiritual stuff because science justifies everything
mm,
with fact. factual, like science research and what facts. So
Mm.
on a spiritual perspective, what I learned,
Mm.
actually, it is called programming. Yeah.
Mm.
It starts slowly. The enemy starts to project anxiety on you when you actually don't know. And it's not a
Mm.
one day thing that
Mm.
you're going to actually become anxious. There are multitude of things that keep on happening to you. They keep on piling when you've act normal. Like, for example, you may get disappointments. Maybe you may have problems, personal issues. Maybe you'd be in business. Maybe you're in debts. You may be
Mm.
having a bad relationship. So all those things go on contributing brick by brick to
Mm.
finally get an attack. But you don't know.
Mm.
For example, if you get one problem today, if you overcome it, you think that it has disappeared, yet
Mm.
within you, something has been deposited that has reduced some of your strength without you knowing. Then another problem happens, you keep on being reduced, another one happens, another one. So there is a point you reach,
Mm.
and now the attack takes over, and then like you're subdued, like
Mm.
it's not evident, because if it happens once, you can know, I
Mm.
have a problem. But this is something that you cannot know that you have a problem until you're down and you cannot move. Actually,
Mm.
you're acting funny, you're starting to lose your mind, you're starting to
Mm.
hallucinate. So that's where you start to now know that you have a problem. So, how I got to know that point when it comes to my personal experience, I
Mm.
used to be like working, because that was
Mm.
actually for me, it happened in 2021. I used to
Mm.
have a saloon mainly after
Mm.
lockdown. And there are
Mm.
so many, everyone around me would always call me with negative news.
Mm.
Imagine everyone around you, things are not
Mm.
moving on well, which was understandable because it was after lockdown and COVID, yeah.
Mm.
But
Yes.
I've never experienced that in my life, whereby bad news upon bad news upon bad news, bad news. But so it becomes like your body starts to repair, like you get tired. Yeah.
Mm.
So I became anxious.
Mm.
If anyone starts to call me, I'm already scared. They're now going to tell me bad news. That's how I
Mm.
started. Then if I'm moving somewhere, maybe I'm traveling, I start feeling, what if I get an accident?
Oh yeah.
What if I die along the way? What if I don't make it? You see how it keeps on progressing? Yeah.
Mm.
Then people be like, maybe you need counseling, maybe you're going through something.
Mm.
Actually, what I went through was not directly connected to me, but
Mm.
was everything connected to my environment. People around me projected that on me in ways that you cannot know. You can become anxious, but when the problem is not you, but the environment has also made you what
Mm.
you are. Yeah.
Okay. So, Brenda, what does it feel to be anxious from your perspective? Like, how do you feel? Um, uh, what does it feel to be anxious? Like, how does it feel like? How would you
Okay.
describe it to someone else there, out here?
Okay. Feeling anxious, it's more like being fearful
Mm.
of this something which has not yet happened. Like you
Mm.
start fearing, even if something has not yet happened, you start having thoughts
Mm.
of things which have not happened. And
Okay. Uh, okay. Brenda is experiencing some network issue. I think she will be back with us in a short while. Yeah, today we are talking about something strange, that is fear, panic attack, and anxiety, and then the fear of death. A lot of you people out there are suffering from these things. Some of you are anxious. Some of you are afraid of death. You don't know what to do. Whatever you see around you, you think it's going to happen to you. You're scared. We are here to speak to you today. It's not a normal thing. I know so many people that have lost it in life simply because everything that happens around other people, they think it's going to to go to them. So today we want to have a discussion with Brenda, who went through this almost the point of death, not because anything, not because something was happening to her, but simply because she put everything that was happening around her into her brain, that it took a toll on her, and she almost lost everything that she had. So she's experiencing a network issue, and I hope and believe she should be back with us in a short while. Okay. Otherwise, if you have a question, kindly leave it in the comment section. Kindly leave it in the comment section, and we shall be able to deal with it. It is a good morning, and I hope wherever you're watching us from, everything is fine. Our guest should be back in a short while. So many people have lost their hope in life. So many people are living in fear. So many people are scared. They don't know what to do. They look at things happening in other countries. Issues of anxiety and fear actually became so much, especially after COVID-19. People became so worried. Some people now have never recovered. When we talk about anxiety, it affects everyone in life. As a medical personnel, I've seen people almost lose their lives. I've seen pregnant women. I've seen young girls who cannot give birth anymore because of what they have heard about getting pregnant. I've seen people who have got opportunities to move abroad, and I actually fail to take up these opportunities simply because they are anxious about what they have seen in movies or what they have heard happening to their family and friends that traveled before them. So anxiety is real. You think of things and your brain fails to comprehend. Your brain fails to understand them. You're thinking about this, you're thinking about that, you're thinking about this. We are here to have a discussion on that with the expert. Yes, my friend, you're welcome. So, and sorry about that network issue. So the question I was asking is, how do you feel when you're experiencing anxiety? To someone watching, maybe going through the same situation, how do you realize that you could be going through anxiety as a person?
When you're overly fearful, like even where it's unnecessary. For example, you're going to go, you're traveling, then you start, what if I get an accident?
Okay. Okay. Our guest is experiencing network issues. I hope we shall be able to have a as fast as we can. So yeah, it is a very sensitive topic that we are trying to handle today. Okay.
I think the internet is back on.
Okay. Okay, Brenda, now I have you.
Okay. Internet.
Yeah, it is a Sunday morning. Yes, Brenda. So you were still
Okay.
explaining.
So I was still
Yes.
explaining
Yes.
that state where you're overly fearful, yeah?
Yeah.
Even for things which have not yet happened to you, Like
Mm.
fear has been projected on you. You
Mm.
literally fear everything. For example,
Mm.
now I heard you talked about the pregnant women, yeah?
Mm.
When you're expecting, you've not yet given birth, the child has not yet died, you started imagining in your head,
Mm.
now what if I die? What if the child dies? So things like that cause your pressure to shoot up.
Okay.
For
So
example,
how? Yes.
mm,
Um. Can you describe for us a recent scenario that you went through in your life where you felt anxious, and how did that affect you in your everyday life, and in the life of people around you?
okay, how that affected me, actually it affected me greatly for almost a year.
Mm.
Yeah. So it started like anxiety, then it went on to depression and then fear
Mm.
of death. And then I started
Mm.
getting panic attacks. So it came in
Mm.
phases. I started
Mm.
like being anxious. Then I
Mm.
went into depression. From
Mm.
depression, I started getting fear of death. Then after I
Mm.
started getting the panic attacks. All of a sudden you just start panicking. Yeah. So how it started, I'll progressively explain step by step how it happened.
Yes.
I think I was already, I told you, like it keeps on building up. Then one day it just erupts into something. I
Mm.
remember I used to, I've told you, I had a scenario whereby everything around me was negative. Everyone
Mm.
around me was experiencing something bad. And I was that, I'm more like, people that appear strong to others that they can always confide in you.
Yep.
So I'm that kind of person. But for you, when it is your turn, like you don't literally get anyone to confide in.
And the people don't realize actually that even the
The-
strong people go through things. Yes.
And they also need people to confide in.
Yes.
So me, people were like depositing their problems on me, but me, I was not downloading on anyone.
Mm.
So I took all that in. It affected me, including my own personal things. Imagine having to deal with your own personal life and also
Mm.
having to deal with other people's problems. It becomes overwhelming. So for me,
Mm.
it became too overwhelming that I started experiencing anxiety. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, I would be like at work, I start
Mm.
feeling like my stomach, like you feel as if there are butterflies in your stomach. Of course, you're scared.
Mm.
Butterflies in your stomach. You start feeling like as if you're becoming weak. Then you start
Mm.
feeling your heart beat like at a faster rate, as if something bad has happened.
Mm.
Then you feel very low, like even if you were happy, if people are laughing, all of a sudden
Mm.
you become sad. Out of the blue,
Mm.
you just, you frown and you feel like as if you're not supposed to laugh, you're supposed to be miserable and just be like that. So
Mm.
I started asking myself, what is happening? At first, being a Christian, I was telling you, we mistake anxiety for the Holy Spirit speaking to us.
Mm.
You start saying, maybe God is telling me something,
Yeah.
that something is going to happen. You are anxious.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
God does not make you fearful, even if He's communicating to you. He does not make you fearful because He
Mm.
says in His word, He did not give you the spirit of fear, but power,
Mm.
love, and a sound mind. He can
Mm.
communicate to you, but He does not give you fear. Anytime you feel fearful, it is not God. So I
Mm.
think people that also are suffering from anxiety and are saying that God is communicating should have that straight. God
Okay.
does not communicate in fear. Yeah.
Okay. So, how did that? You try to explain how the effect it had. How did that have that? How did that affect like your relationship with the people around you? Because maybe I have also gone through something similar to that. I think between the year 2023 and I think early this year, especially
Mm,
2023.
mm,
But for me, I went through a lot of things, including issues that had to do with my, your personal hygiene. I didn't want
mm,
to eat. I remember I would go to Mulago Hospital and just sleep the whole
mm.
day in the department, find somewhere to sleep. I forgot about time. I didn't want to go back home. Like a lot of things kept happening to me. To you, what was your
Yeah.
experience when you were going through this? And then I cut off
Okay, first
friends.
of all,
Mm,
mm, I lost appetite for food.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Then I lost track of time. like you're no longer counting time, but it's morning, evening, you're just there. Then I lost interest in everything that I used to love, work. Then I started isolating myself from people. I did isolate myself from people because I felt they don't understand me, they don't care for me. Every time I'm there for them, but for them, when it's they're not, everyone is actually busy. Yeah. So I want to explain the things that happened to me in relation to the revelation I got afterwards. Yeah.
Yes.
So for that moment, it's not like actually people were busy for me, but when the enemy wants to take your life, it makes you call people at the wrong time when they are actually engaged. And then after, he communicates to your mind that they are avoiding you and have no time for you. Are you getting that?
Yes, yes.
You could actually call someone when genuinely they are engaged and they tell you, out of love, Brenda Bambi, I'm engaged, I'm going to get back to you. Then for you, you interpret it as tebampa budde, kati tuli mutanjagala. Those are the thoughts you tell yourself. So you start isolating yourself and hating people and cutting off people, thinking they don't genuinely care for you. That is what you've now perceived in your mind, and you're there. So once the devil isolates you, you know the devil cannot win you when you're in a multitude. So what the devil does, if he wants to beat you, he isolates you alone, whereby no one is going to speak life into you. Then he starts whispering death to you. Every time you look around, you see, I'm going to die. Every time you see, no one loves me. What actually, I started even getting some suicidal thoughts.
Yep.
I said, even someone who is dead is even actually more happy than me. I'm so miserable. My life is not moving the way I want. Started becoming suicidal. I remember one time I was moving. I was feeling so bad, like I was feeling dizzy. Actually, it also gave me this dizziness because I told you it progressed to depression. So I got that dizziness that doesn't go away. Yeah, no matter what you do. Then I started losing partially my sight.
Yes.
I started seeing blurry images. So
Yes.
when I started upgraded to that, I was like, now it seems now death has come. Maybe I'm going to die. Maybe my time has reached. So I went to the hospital. There's a clinic I went to, and it was like on the 7th floor. So the doctor was not there by the time I arrived. But you know what the enemy whispered to me? I heard the voice audibly. This one I will not lie. How
Yes.
about if you jump from this building down? Don't you say that you would have solved the problem that you're going through? Can you imagine? I had that within me, and I was on the 7th floor up. And then within me, I had a voice telling me, how about you? I looked down, and then the voice told me, you see what you're going through? You're going through hell. How about if you just jump off this building and you solve everything? Then, in the instant of the moment, you know, they say the battlefield is in the mind. Another voice within me told me, no, don't do it. There is more
For
to life.
for someone that has not gone through depression, I've been there. I've been there. And that's why I thought if I told my story, maybe one time I will. I felt inviting Brenda to share with us is going to. I know a lot of people are going through anxiety, panic attacks, and depression, even unknowingly. Someone listening to this video, or someone listening to this video, if you're not going through, there is someone in your house that is having these thoughts. They start as fear. It progresses to another thing, The people that actually have tried to commit suicide and maybe they have been saved by God's grace or through something or something, it starts with a small thing in their mind. Before you know it, they start to see death as the best option for whatever they are going through in life. Yes, Brenda. What? Because there are people there are some of my viewers about to ask, what normally triggers these panic attacks and fear? Is it
It's
something that you're
first,
going through or things that you're watching or things that are happening around you? What normally triggers this?
It's a combination of many things. It is not one thing. There are things
Yes.
that you subconsciously know about. Maybe I have dates. Maybe I'm
Mm.
going through a bad relationship. Those are the things that you know. But the things that you do not know of are the things like projected to you by other people, other people's problems.
Mm.
Like you be like you're the one who is a counselor. You are
Mm.
also sharing on their problems. Subconsciously, it is also affecting you, yet you
Mm.
do not know. The ones that you know are your own personal problems and maybe your small feuds here and there. But
Mm.
the things that you do not know of,
Mm.
like the energy we release in things that concern other people. I'm not saying it's bad to help or to, but you have to be
Mm.
actually protect your heart. You can
Mm.
cancel someone without attaching too much of your feelings because it's going to affect your body
Mm.
and it's going to worsen your state. First of all, if you are having such a, like, I stopped counseling people when I was going through depression because
Mm.
the moment someone starts talking about their problems, I start panicking, my hands start shivering, I feel as if I'm
Mm.
going to, you know, I used to think people are pretend. Yeah, I used to
Mm.
think panic attacks are not real. You know,
Mm.
my hands would literally shake even when I hold something. Like you start,
Mm.
your hands start shaking. You cannot, you lose focus, and then you cannot
Mm.
concentrate on anything. You can have over like 1 million thoughts in microseconds.
Mm.
And you know, that is now I believe when people say that's how people run mad.
Mm.
Too much thought, like abnormally too much thoughts in
Mm.
as shortest like possible time. Yeah, like
Yes.
you're thinking of too many voices in your mind and you don't know what to listen to. So there is that
Mm.
confusion that actually you start feeling as if maybe I'm becoming crazy,
Mm.
maybe something is wrong with me. So if it is not checked in time, honestly,
Mm.
I believe from that state you now run mad.
In your case, what was the cause of these panic attacks? Okay. Uh, my guest again is struggling with internet, but like you're seeing, panic attacks are real, depression is real, and that's why we invest this time, money, and data to make sure we bring such people to share with us live experiences. These are things that before it happens to you, you don't realize how heavy and strong this actually is. But I'm telling you, from just simple panic and fear of events to someone wanting to commit suicide. And these are things that we don't talk about a lot in the community. These are things for so long we thought were Western patterns of life. Nga bwe twogera ku anxiety abantu bagamba abaddugavu tubeera tutya nga tuli anxious. Depression is bulwadde bwaffe. But I'm telling you, depression is real. I'm telling you, so many people are losing lives. If you've not been at that point in your life, you should thank God that you've not gone through. Otherwise, personally, I know so many people that have struggled with depression and anxiety. I know so many people that are currently going through the same. I know people that are struggling to just go through this. The causes are so many. To some people, they are financial pressures. To other people, there are things that they hear from other people, especially the counselors. These counselors listen to people's problems every single day. So before they internalize, before they empty their brains of what they have had, another person comes in. So when they go home to rest, they find themselves in a situation where these now start to appear like they are their own problems. Research shows that so many counselors actually have ended up having mental issues because of the problems that we keep telling them or the things that we keep telling them. The pastors, the spiritual leaders, in the morning, you're going to talk to them about how the bank is going to take your house. In the evening, another person needs children. In the afternoon, one couple does not have children, in whatever some couple is fighting, in whatever someone wants to commit suicide. So we empty everything in their minds. And if they are not taken care of, or if they don't take care of themselves, time comes when they go into anxiety and panic attacks because of what they are listening. Before you know it, we are having real mental issues that cannot be solved. Again, if you're watching this program for the very first time, I kindly ask you to comment and subscribe, but also to share with someone that you think may be going through a hard time. Friends, I've walked that journey. I totally understand what they call anxiety. You wake up with 1,000 thoughts in your head. You don't know what to do first. You don't know what to do second. You lose yourself. Someone that was known to be very smart, you now become someone that they have to remind to do certain things that even include taking a normal bath. Yes, you're welcome again. So we were looking at we were handling
Mm,
this, and
mm,
my question was, in your case,
mm.
what was the cause, if you don't mind sharing?
Okay, for me, I told you it was not one cause. It
Mm,
was a combination of many things.
okay,
My personal problems and challenges, and also being that I'm that go-to person for everyone when they're having a problem.
so you
You're
became
already,
the Jesus of so many people.
thank you very much. And then I think, and for me, I would not not talk to anyone about my own
Okay,
struggles. So
okay.
I think it affected me. So I cannot say that it was actually one cause. I know it was that state after COVID and everyone was going through something. But
Mm,
you know, when you're that person, like maybe people feel they can easily confide in you. Yeah.
mm,
Especially when they're going through something, they can easily confide in you.
mm,
So they are always telling you. So I told you when we had just started this live that
mm,
our every angle I was receiving only negative news. Every
mm,
phone call, this has happened, this has like constantly for like 3 months constantly. Then I'm like, but this is too much. Like every time I see my phone ring, I don't want to pick it up. I know that those are problems. Problems
mm,
became like problems, including my own personal things. Like, for example, I can share one. We are after lockdown, like I was having two shops and rent
mm,
was much. Yeah. So
mm.
like I had to pay, and our businesses were closed for like approximately almost a year.
Almost a year, yeah.
So, yeah. So the landlord had only reduced for me 1 month, and I was supposed
Yeah.
to pay all the other months, whether
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been working or not
All
at the
not.
place of work. So
Mm,
having two shops, that money is overwhelming and I had
yeah.
nowhere to get it. So that also made me feel
Mm,
scared of what am I going to do. Actually, I became worried, where am I going to get all that money to clear the rent, my
mm,
family? You're having many things in your mind, yeah.
yeah.
So including the other problems, I've told you that you add other
Mm,
people's problems, yeah. So
okay.
it really became like something that took me out.
Yes, Brenda. Is there a difference
Mm.
between anxiety and fear?
Now I think for me I cannot separate those two.
Mm,
Anxiety is it's a response based on fear.
okay.
To me,
Okay.
I don't separate fear and anxiety. They are actually, you can only have experience fear when you've okay, but the fear turns into anxiety. It becomes a regular thing. Yeah. It
Okay.
starts like normal fear, but it progresses into anxiety, whereby all the time you become like that. Anything
Mm.
small, you start being scared. What if this? You start actually, it's in your mind. Everything starts in your mind.
Um,
Yeah.
Brenda, you said that when you went through this as a spiritual person or as a person that believes in Christ, eventually
Mm.
for you it was a revelation for something.
Yeah.
Um, what was the revelation? What was God trying
Okay.
to communicate through all this?
For me, after going through that, I tried seeking for solutions. I remember one time I woke up at 1 a.m. in the night, feeling as if, actually, it even gave me shortness of breath when I reached the depression part of it. I used to have shortness of breath at night. I used to have struggle to sleep. So I could not sleep. In my mind, I was saying, the moment I close my eyes, I'm not going to wake up. So I rather keep my eyes open because I don't want to die. I would wake up in the wee hours of night to peep. When there is no sun, I'm like, oh my God, now everyone is sleeping. Now for me, I'm going to die. No, I don't want to die. Then I start now getting scared. I start to cry. Yeah, like you start telling yourself things and then you start responding. I start to cry. I would keep awake the whole night. Then also the lack of sleep started affecting me. I started developing headache. Now, when it comes to you don't even want to go and bathe, you just want to be there. You're like, what is the use of even bathing? Because now I'm going to die and I'll not be bathing.
Yes.
Like you'll be messed up. That's all I can say. I remember that time I told you I woke up at 1 a.m. I was having shortness of breath. I started like sweating, like I said, sweating. Then I said, now maybe I'm going to die. So I called my mom. I told her, Mom, I want to go to the hospital. Actually, my husband meanwhile was there looking at me and saying, now what's wrong with this one? Because you're looking at someone, but they're acting as if they are crazy, and you also don't know what to do with them. So I felt maybe he doesn't understand me. So I would call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm feeling like as if I'm going to die. Then she would pray with me on phone. After praying, I told her I want to go to the hospital. I remember I packed my things. He said maybe being admitted in the hospital is better. Maybe I would feel better knowing I'm near the medics. Maybe it would do me good. So I remember going to the hospital that week, the wee hours of night. I got transportation, went to Zambia hospital. I remember reaching, and then they did, they check you everything. They checked my pressure, they checked blood sugar level. Then they also checked like the urinalysis, and then they told me actually we cannot see anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That you're suffering from medically. Then I told her, but how come I'm having shortness of breath? How come I feel like as if I'm going to die? Yet you guys are saying, I thought you're the ones who are the medics. You're supposed to help me out. Now, how am I supposed to deal with this alone? I remember one nurse, I think she was so kind to me, looked at me and told me, Brenda, whatever you're going through, you have to fight back. I remember the nurse told me, she just gave me supplement because they didn't give me any sort of treatment, but they gave me some supplements, yeah, to help me maybe with the sleep, to calm down. And then they told me even the pressure that I was experiencing partly is not because I have pressure, but it's because now when I fear a lot, the pressure goes up. Yeah. But it's not
So,
like I have an underlying condition.
to someone
So
watching
from there,
us, yes, Brenda,
from there, now
yes,
when the doctor, the nurse told me you have to fight back, is now where I now lost hope and said, medically biganye. So now, God, it is now me and you. So that is the state I went back in my secret place and now said, I no longer have a solution in hospital. Now what should I do? If it's about dying, let me now make myself right with God so that when I die, at least I go to God. Now that's where the revelation started.
wow. To someone watching, this appears like a movie. But like I said earlier, I've gone through my own path in life. 2023, 2024, crazy. Imagine something that starts as fear, progresses to anxiety. You now go to panic attacks, to depression. Now you're seeing death. You know, time comes when you're talking to death like you're talking to a neighbor. You're now actually negotiating with death. You know, I want to die, but I want to go to heaven. So let me go to church. That those are the type of conversation you start to have. You start to disconnect with the world, and now you're connecting to death. Now, to so many men watching this, to men watching this, the problem of fear, anxiety in men is even on the rise, because so many times men, we tend to be kings. We tend to swallow our pride and the ego. We don't want even to open up to people. The ladies will tell you, like she's saying, I called my mom, I called my friends. To men, you suffer alone. You think when you open up, other men are going to judge you as weak men. We're in a generation, if a man comes crying for help, we already think they are weak. They are not men enough. But at the end of this show, we are going to learn that we all need to find someone to open up to. But above all, we have a God. We have God that is high above that can listen to us. Actually, one thing I've come to terms with that most of the time, these are all the devil trying to mess you around. Brenda, at what point did you become depressed in all this? We've learned fear.
At the
It's fear, panic attacks. Now, let's talk about depression. At what point
I
did you
went
become
into
depressed,
depression.
and what exactly
Mm.
happened?
What led me now to depression is when I went to the hospital and they told me I have nothing, I have no illness, so I should fight. So how was I supposed to deal with this? First of all, I thought hospital has all solutions.
Yeah.
Kati awo ne mpulira nga kati kikaweddemu nga oli wagamba kaweddemu. I'm like, now it seems now I'm now going to die, because even in the hospital they have told me I have no this, I don't have this, I should fight back. So now I became now depressed. I started looking at my children, like even these ones, I'm going to leave them. Now those are now the things which now put me into depression. When I look at my kids, I stopped loving them. How when they come running to me, mommy, mommy, I'm like,
Okay, so again, I want to thank you for watching. We my guest is experiencing some glitch internet issue, but she should be back. Again, like I was saying, you will never understand the strength or the issues to do with anxiety, panic attacks, and depression until someone you know or until someone close to you go through this situation. You will see a very smart man turn into nonsense. These are people that you find they are driving expensive cars and are talking to themselves alone. Yes, Brenda, take us through the depression part. You said you went to hospital, like so many people come to us, and now the hospital is telling you, Brenda, you have to fight for your life. I can imagine a person running to hospital for emergency. Abasawo ne bagamba, Brenda, now you have to fight for your life. How did you feel? And take us through the depression phase.
that one, I now felt all hope is gone. Yeah, all hope is gone. And it's usually said, it says, I'll say it in Luganda, gwe wookoma ate kati ye Katonda w'atandikira. God first
Yeah.
leaves you to exhaust all your options and all your energy. Then for him, you will begin from there. Kati me, it happened to me now.
Yes.
Now, when I entered that, that's where I started being depressed. Now that one came with too much crying. Every day I would weep, like as if I'm going to die. Like you start crying. Even I could no longer pray. Every time I kneel down to pray, the enemy whispers in my ears, Katina wo sabachi, tebikola, bireke. And you know that things that would come, there is that music for depression. You go and listen to that yoga music. Go and do this. You know there is music for every situation. There is that music people play when they are depressed. So I started even Googling music for depression. Now I'm accepting the situation that actually I'm going through it. Yeah. It's now becoming part of me. And I'm now trying to accommodate it instead of fighting back. I'm now accommodating. Like when I'm feeling depressed, I do this. Actually, one sign of depression is isolation. When you feel you're disconnected to the outside world, you've
Mm.
now entered depression. I became
Okay.
overly isolated. Like
Mm.
you're alone, isolated from your husband, from your children, from your family, from your friends. You are
Mm.
alone.
Mm.
People who are actually in depression you don't want to explain any 1 or 2 words, you'll start crying. So you don't want people to also
Mm.
see that you're going through a bad situation. So you're actually dying alone. Let me use that word.
Mm.
So you be like you are dying alone, yeah, in the moment. So when I
Mm.
became depressed, I started feeling that one, my depression. I used to overcry every time at
Mm.
night, in the morning. I start now imagining things. I imagined my burial. Now I'm going to
Wow.
die. You start
Wow.
imagining my children. Now they are not going to
Mm.
have a mom. Now even this marriage is useless because now I'm going to die. You see,
Mm.
like everything becomes useless when you're in that point of depression. You no longer
Mm.
value anything, you don't value anyone, and the first thing you don't value is your life. You no longer
Mm.
you start seeing life as a scam. You'll be
Yeah.
like, even this life is you're so useless. I started now just surviving, not
Mm.
a purpose, living a purposeful life, but just surviving.
Mm.
Webukeera bukedde, buziba buzibye. I no longer have programs. I'm not dreaming anymore. I'm not
Mm.
setting plans. The next year I want to do this. I'm just there.
Yeah.
Then now
Mm.
I remember one time where my
Mm.
turning point now comes in. I
Mm.
moved, I was moving. I even closed my business. Now
Yeah.
I closed the business, brought it back home. Even
Mm.
working is useless. Now that is
Mm.
now where my depression had reached.
Mm.
I told the landlord I can no longer pay the money. I don't even have money. I'm no longer interested in even working.
Mm.
I closed the shop. I told him, even if you want to take some things to compensate for your rent, it's okay. I'm
Mm.
tired. I left the shop. Now I came back home. And then that twist of now having to, like there are two things. There's being depressed and broke. And then there's being depressed and you can afford because some things.
Someone said that you Africans that black people are not depressed. They're just broke. They're just poor. That's a lie. Yes, Brenda.
Like now you can be depressed and broke, and that depression
Mm.
actually that one feels faster.
Mm.
Yeah, so I stopped being like work. I stopped working, and now
Mm.
came home and accepted the depression. And another effect of that depression, I became broke.
Mm.
Now I used to have some little money. You can afford this and that at least, but
Mm.
now I can't afford anything. Now the depression became misery. Also, at some
Yes.
point, you
Mm.
start now saying, "Now God doesn't love me." Now you know we are funny, eh?
Mm.
Now the problem now goes back to God, as if God is the one who has made you become who you are. I was now like, God, if you truly loved me, why would
Mm.
you let me go through what I'm going through? If
Yeah.
you're really saying you're a loving God, can't you see
Mm.
my pain? I can't hear you at this particular time where I need you most. Yeah,
Mm.
where are you? So I was at
Mm.
that point of asking God, where are you? Then there is one of my friends who called me that day, like I'm good at what I do, yeah. So she called me,
Mm.
she's like, we need your services. And
Mm.
I'm like, I found your shop closed. What happened? She drove
Mm.
to my place. So when I was in that moment, now I think I'd now given up, and God knew if I don't save this girl at this point,
Mm.
she's going to be gone. I think that's the point I was. I used to read this verse, thy walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I used to think it's a scam. No, I was in my valley
Mm.
where you see truthfully there is a
Mm.
shadow of death, and you can
Mm.
only experience it when you're there. You see it. People
Mm.
think death is a word. Death is, let me call it a being. It's
Mm.
something that can hear you. You can hear it. You understand when it has come, but which you can know that like death is also like more like a being, like you, like it's just an illusion. You can talk to death, you can feel death, you can know that the time is up. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Brenda. How did
Mm.
this depression all along turn into? How did this depression help you to understand and reconnect with your God again?
I knew that, you know, I grew up from a religious background. So
I
there
know, mom, in way you get definitely.
uh,
From chasing
so
us,
we
from chasing us from the gate to, yes.
So I knew ever since
Mm,
I was a kid, as I've grown up in a Christian family,
mm,
and they say when all hope is gone, He's our
yeah.
present help in times of need. At least
Mm,
the word was encrypted in my heart. I knew where everything has failed, at least God is
mm,
that person that I've grown up knowing can never what fail. That's
mm,
why it was easy for me to now say, God, if it's time to
mm,
die, at least let me go to heaven. I've suffered a lot in this world. So
yes.
even I'm not going to suffer
Mm,
again in what? Like I've suffered a lot.
mm,
So I'm not going to suffer again when I die. So I rather die if at least I suffer in this world, but at least in heaven I rest.
mm,
So I said, now this is my time to reconnect with my maker. So
mm,
I made my friend, that friend I've told you that called me, that came to my place,
mm,
I met her on the way. She told
mm,
me, Brenda, she actually shared my money.
mm,
So she gave me money. But within me I had a voice tell me, ask her, she could have your solution. I said, but
mm,
this lady, we have never talked anything. I've never opened up my life to her. How do I ask her? She's simply a client. But I obeyed and said,
mm,
I said, I'm going through something I don't understand. I feel as if, of course, I didn't tell her the intensity. I just told her, I feel as if I'm in depression, as if I'm anxious. Then she told
mm,
me, oh my God. I know she was driving and she just put her head on the steering wheel and
mm,
held her head and told me, oh my God, I totally understand what you're going through. Then she
mm,
first switched off the car and told me,
mm,
Brenda, I cannot lie to you that I have a solution for you, but
mm,
I'm going to add you in some group whereby you'll be following the teachings in the group and you
mm,
pray on your
mm,
own. So I said, thank you. She added me to a group, and
mm.
it happened to be a church group of Mutunde Christian Fellowship. Yeah.
Wow.
So I used to listen to, I didn't want, first of all, that what depression does, it disconnects you with God. Yeah.
Yep.
You
Yep.
don't want anyone preaching God to you. If that God is there, why am I feeling like this? Those are the things you'll be so bitter about God.
Mm,
So the strategy that God used that saved me was
mm,
not someone directly speaking to me, but was me listening to the teachings
mm,
and praying on my own, yeah, as
mm,
led by some friend of mine. So she joined me to that MCF group where they put the teachings of Mutundwe. So I
mm,
started listening. The first clip I opened, the audio clip, was
mm,
exactly describing my situation.
mm,
Upon listening, I was like, how did this pastor understand what I'm going through? I
mm,
started now crying, listening. I said, Bana, now what can I do? Then he said, pray. Bana Yesava, when death has come, it has come to real, take you for real. You have to what? To
wow. Okay. Uh, our guest will be back. I'm lost for words because I resonate a lot with the story that she's taking. To someone that has not gone through the things that you're listening, Brenda, discuss with us today, to you they appear like movie. That's real life. That is real life. That is real life.
yeah.
I remember,
So
yes, Brenda.
mm, So she told me, like the pastor said, when death has come, you have to fight for your life. Don't allow people die in this state. You now don't have to negotiate with death. You have to fight back. So I
Mm.
didn't know how to fight back, but they started telling us you have to fast, you have to pray, read the word, and what. The first few weeks was not easy for me. I can't say it was easy. I had totally disconnected from God. Even if I knelt down to pray, the devil had consumed me that it was not
Yeah.
making any sense. The moment you kneel down to pray, too many thoughts pamper your mind that you just say, you give up and sleep.
Mm.
Then I started to now start praying like a minute. I progressed to 10 minutes. I started gaining momentum by, they say, by hearing the word of God. Faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of God. So
Mm.
in hearing the word, my prayer life started shooting up slowly. Now I started after like a month or two, I started gaining momentum in the spirit. I could now pray for 30 minutes, an hour without ceasing. Now the battle became intense, like it became intense that now if at all the enemy knew he had you, now he feels he's going to lose you, he worsens everything around you.
Mm.
But I had now started gaining momentum and strength within. I started fighting back, praying. I entered into fasting. I'd never done dry fasting all my life. I used to think
Mm.
it can't happen. That was the first time
Mm.
the Holy Spirit started leading me. Today, I fasted with 1 day dry fasting.
Mm.
Then I progressed into 3 days and then
Mm.
regular fasting, that my body became so weak that
Mm.
I could no longer listen to what the body is saying, but what the spirit is saying.
Mm.
Yeah. I remember I would sleep like this. I not sleeping, I would sit in the chair. The moment I close my eyes, I see a vision. I see a flash. Like now my body was now connected to God more than the world. I was no
Mm.
longer having fear. I hadn't yet healed, but fear left me. That even if I feel like I'm going to faint, I'm not scared and nothing happens actually.
Mm.
Now victory comes when you overcome fear. Yeah.
Yes,
No matter
Brenda.
what. Mm,
Yes, before you go far,
mm,
uh, this is actually our last part of the interview.
mm,
Someone has sent me a DM here. How does it
mm,
feel to that help them to understand the fear of death? How does it feel for someone to feel like that situation where you're alive, but now all your experience and your thought and everything, you're starting like to accept that it's time to die. I'm going to die, and actually I can die now. Actually, you're living a life of I'm just waiting for what is going to kill me, but you're literally preparing yourself for death. Uh,
mm,
how does it feel? Because there are so many people that sleep and they fear they are going to die at night. How does
mm.
it feel to be in that situation?
It feels bad, first of all. It feels you lose meaning for anything. Like you
Mm.
stop making future plans because you feel your future
Mm.
is that current state that you're in, yeah.
Mm.
And the fear of death makes you lose sleep. You can't sleep, yeah.
Mm.
Then also it's not a nice feeling, it's a bad feeling. You
Mm.
start reflecting on the things that you've done, what you would have done better, how
Mm.
you've been living your life, how some things have not been worth it, like how you've not become the person you intended to become or you dreamt of becoming. So the
Mm.
fear of death is you fearing to close your eyes because
Mm.
the moment I wake up, I'm going to die. Yeah. But how you overcome the fear of death is you to be like solid in the word of God, knowing whether I live is because of God's grace, even if I die, it is his will. Once you accept that death is part of creation, yeah, then it has lost its grip over you.
Mm.
How I overcame the fear of death was in accepting even the day I was born, I didn't know that I would make it alive. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
But the
Mm.
mere
Mm.
fact I've made it alive. Yeah,
mm,
even the day that I'm going to die, you acknowledging it exists, whether
mm,
you believe it or not. Acknowledge that the day you will die exists, though you don't know it. Yeah. And what does the Bible teach us? It teaches us to prepare in case you die. You have to be in the right standing with God. So when I put my mind to say, even these years I've been on earth, many things have happened that almost took my life and I never died. If it
mm,
means they never killed me, meaning there was someone watching over me, why am I worried for myself? Yet there is someone who put me in this world. You mean I care for myself more than he cares for me? So that's what took away the fear of death. I
mm,
started living for God, not for me.
mm,
You will only fear death if you're living for you. If you
mm,
think you're the one who is a master plan of your life, if you
mm,
think you're the one who has control, I gave
mm,
back the control to God. Yeah.
mm,
You can never overcome the fear of death if you want your life to be in your control, you to control it. You have
mm.
to live a life of surrender, total surrender, to know from that time onwards up to now, I live the same life. I'm no longer scared of anything. Yeah.
Mm.
If it is death, even if it came now, I'm no longer scared to die. Yeah. Why?
Okay.
I started living intentionally, living a life of purpose,
Mm,
living a life of knowing I came here to do something. And when it is done, I will return back to my maker. Yeah. Living with death as part of you makes you not to fear it. Yeah.
mm,
But living in denial and thinking death is for someone else, not for you,
mm,
you are violating the word of God. The same God who said, "Let there be light," is the same one who said, "You will surely die if you disobey." So accepting that it is part of life, yeah,
mm,
and one time you will not be there, and doing what you are supposed to be doing at the time that you're still alive saves you the burden of worrying. Whether you worry of death or not, still you will die when the time is right. So you better stop worrying about it and do what you were purposed to do, not worry.
Wow. Um, to someone that is watching us as we conclude today's episode, Brenda, what tips do you have? Definitely, I'm telling you, as a medical expert, I've we face a lot of issues with mental issues that stem from fear, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and then someone cutting to relate, like not relating to death, accepting that I'm going to die, but actually people are planning to plan their own end of life. Brenda, what are
Mm.
some of the things you could advise someone that is going through what you went through?
Mm.
Watching, what are some of the tips you could give them to help them move from where you started to how your turning point came, not going through the painful episodes or things that you went through?
Okay. What I learned later about, I'll cut the story short. What I learned later by the revelation of the Holy Spirit was all these things that happen are called self-inflicted sin. It's
Mm,
things we inflict on ourselves,
mm,
self-inflicted. Yeah.
mm,
By choosing to believe them. Them
mm,
happening is not the problem, but you choosing to believe.
mm,
Yeah. Then they begin manifesting in your life. If you fear death, the fear of death starts what? Manifesting. If you
mm,
fear problems, the problems start what? Coming. So
mm,
it is everything in tuned in your mind. Yeah.
mm,
It is you. The devil has no power to attack you except you accepting to be in partnership with him.
mm,
You accept.
mm,
There is this, you accept, like for example, if the devil whispers you're going to die, and you also
mm,
say, "Yes, I'm going to die." Ah,
mm,
you've accepted this, and this is going to happen. Yes, it may happen. Now fear, it triggers fear within your body. You have to fight those thoughts, and the only way you can fight, you cannot fight in your power. That's when I cannot lie to you, because there
mm,
is a state whereby only God can save you. You have
mm,
to be solid in God, live a life in God, and
mm,
only in him do you find your being. Me, it is what saved me. No medicine, no nothing. Even the symptoms that had got all disappeared at a place of prayer and fasting and
mm,
reading the word of God. No one laid their hands on me. but I was getting fed by the Spirit by listening to the gospel, but I was praying in my room alone, you see. Yeah, I didn't look for anyone to pray for me, but also it's not bad if someone prays with you because it's allowed. But it all starts with you. So for me, my saving grace came at a point of prayer and aligning my life with God. I became free and I'm totally free. And that is the advice I give. I cannot give you advice that you read this novel, do this. No, prayer moves mountains.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Brenda, for opening up about this. And maybe there is someone out there that would love to speak to you. Are you still doing counseling service as a person?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To our viewers watching out there, maybe there is one question that came in from someone says, when do you know that you're depressed? I think you've explained that very well. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Brenda. At the end of that day, how did the whole of this bring back your connection to God? Because the Brenda I knew all the way from our times in when Watoto East was starting. You know, I know I tell people were the first people to go into Watoto Church East when it was in Ambole Wing 16. You remember? How did the situation that you went through somewhat try to bring back your life closer to God? And do you believe this was God intentionally letting you go through this to like bring you back to him? Like, does the situation sometimes happen when God thinks we've gone astray, so he brings a situation to bring you back to him?
To me, I say it is a big yes for me because I was living, I call it our life of a lukewarm Christian. Yeah. Today you're hot, tomorrow you're cold. Yeah. So that kind of life is a life of double standards. Yeah. You claim you love God, but you're also having your other things in your closet. Yeah. So for me, God was removing me from the life of having double standards to a life of living for Him alone. You see, we cheat, we can cheat people, but we cannot cheat God. Yeah. And to everyone, there is a day whereby you'll walk through the valley of the shadow of death, as David said in the Bible. Now mine had reached. And I thank God it came early, because if it had come late, I don't know if I would have conquered it, because it came. I thank God it came, and at a time whereby I had to now reconnect to God, because I was going to die. Truthfully, now Richard, if I could be tugamba mbuno scientifically what? For me, I really saw myself. God opened my spiritual eyes. Yeah, I saw my grave being dug. Vakubino mbuno. Me, when I talk about this now, it's not really about what happened. This came with an encounter, a spiritual encounter, whereby I saw my grave next to me and me lying. And the only thing that was remaining is me to be pushed inside the grave. That's why, even when I was delivered, he showed me, you know, they say, usually they say, soak your garment in the blood of the lamb in the Bible. This one, I don't want the viewers to miss it. Yeah. It is yourself, your body. Yeah. That is more like a garment. Yeah. The Bible never calls our bodies like, it's like garment. Yeah. This is a garment that hosts your spirit. When I was delivered, I saw someone instruct me, go there and they make for you a new garment, meaning my old garment yali eweddeko. Garment yange enkadde yali ekoze eki? Eweddeko. Ekibi kyali kinzijjudde. Era bagamba the wages of sin is what? Death. Kati okufa, death had come for me because already sin had already taken me, you see. So it was more like judgment was up for me, time up for me. So even when God delivered my soul, I saw a new garment being given to me. Yeah. a new garment was given to me. I remember a man directing me, go there, and a new garment was given to me. I even saw it being made and given to me. So the question is, what had happened to my old garment? You see? Then after that, that is where the Holy Spirit now explains to you what happens. There are so many people whose souls are trapped. It all comes when your soul is trapped. Kati, bino kambinyonyola ne mu Luganda abantu babitegeera. Omanyi oyogera ekintu mu Luzungu, olumu omuntu takitegeera bulungi. Kati kino kankize mu Luganda. Nasanga omwami naloota ekirooto kyalinga kirooto. Omwami yanzukusa mu kirooto n'aŋŋamba genda wali bakutungira olugoye olupya. Ne ŋŋendawo. Kati we natuukawo ennyanja ne yeebikkula. Etali nnyanja ey'amazzi agatukula, ennyanja eringa sockpit. Bw'oba omanyi sockpit zino eza septic tank ezo. Sockpit ebyo ebiddugala nga mulimu ebintu bya bbulaaka, amazzi nga ettosi eriri mu liri erya bbulaaka eriddugala. Sewage weebale nnyo. Kaakati ekintu kati mu nnyanja eyo ey'amazzi agaddugala, ate ne mu Bible mwekiri, Yesu ye nnyanja ey'amazzi, river of life. Naye Sitaani kibanga kitositosi kibeera awo mwebiri mu Revelations w'obisoma nnyo, kasijja gendayo nnyo eyo, naye kanjogere ku experience yange. Ennyanja ne yeebikkula awo bangambye genda bakutungira olugoye olupya. Kati njagala kulaga mbuno, nze nali ndowooza omwoyo gwange nze nguyina baali baguwamba dda nze nga sikola ki, nga simanyi. Kiraba? Kati we baŋŋamba genda wali bakutungira olugoye olupya. Mu kugenda bantungira olugoye olupya. Ennyanja we yeebikkula, mu nnyanja eyo waliwo nga w'olaba akasengejja, nga waggulu kuliko obuntu ne wansi. Olaba buno obuntu, olaba nga shell, kino kishero kya gundi, kino ekintu ekitambula empola ennyo bakiyita ti mu Luganda? Snail, yes.
Snail oba tortoise.
Eri snail.
Yes.
Eri snail,
Yes.
Kati ng'eyo shell ya snail basibiddemu obuntu babuyingiza omwo munda. Kati abantu Sitaani wa kuprogramminga ebyo ebintu, abantu tebakkiriza mbu baloga abantu ne bafuna ebyo ebintu. Kati nze nalaba ng'omwoyo gwange nga woddira ekyo ekisero kya snail nga bakikutte ne bakuyingiza munda omwo musye. Kati ebintu byo byonna biba bitambula mpola ng'eyo snail weekola ki?
Bwegira.
Kati ne wansi nga waliyo katola ku kasengejja waggulu nga waliyo ebiriko n'obulala wansi. Kati nembuuza gwe baŋŋambye antungire bitegeeza kinannyonnyola n'aŋŋamba mu Luganda gy'emyoyo bolaba kungulu gy'emyoyo egy'abantu abali ku nsi naye nga baakwatibwa mu nnyanja. Then giri gy'olaba wansi gy'emyoyo egy'abantu abaali baasibibwa mu nnyanja naye nga baavaako ku nsi tebakyakola ki? Tebakyaliko. Babeera baafa. Kati we bamala okumpa okubikkulirwa okwo, meaning omwoyo gwange gwali gwakwatibwa. Ze zino bye nali receiving nga nze mbiyita depression, mbiyita anxiety, mbiyita fear of what? Of death. Byali because omwoyo gwo omulabe yali yaguwamba. Kati aguwamba ntya? Ekibi kye nali ndimu nze ng'omuntu. Kyawa Sitaani legal right okukozesa omwoyo gwange kyonna kyakola ki? Kyayagala. Bakukwatidde mu nnyanja oba kukwatidde wakati nze because kati of course sijja genda mu spiritual so much, waliwo bye bayita marine spirits and what abantu babimanyi abasaba. So you know sijja bigenda kuze neri medical show. Sijja genda nnyo to details ya.
Nja kukukyaza tubinyumyeko kubanze binnyumira.
Kati abantu abamu tebabitegeera bino ebintu byo bibeera mu spiritual warfare tebabitegeera. Baba balabanga oyogera olinganga mbu oyogera ebitaliiyo naye bituufu.
Basooka bifuna
N'olyoka otegeera mbu si story. kati omwoyo gwange kati we bandaga mbuno egiri kungulu wano mu shells ezo abaakwatibwa naye nga bakyali ku nsi kati nga nze sinnafa nga mbu kati bwenfa mbanva ku kasengejja waggulu ne nnyingira ki wansi naye osigala oli musibe nze kye nali ndowooza mbuno wenetta n'enfa mbu nja kubeera free muganda wange osigala oli muki musibe nga gw'olinze kusalira musango gwe lwaki wetta.
So in other words, your freedom oyina gifuna ng'okyali mulamu gwe wennyini.
Wotafuna freedom. Yes.
If you die ng'okyali mu bondage, even gy'ogenda, you're going to still be in the same bondage until the day of judgment.
I saw it. Bino sikunyumiza firimu nakiraba. Okiwulidde? Kati nze bye nali justifying in my mind that someone who is dead is more than someone who is alive. You are only alive if you die when you're free.
Okay.
But if you die in bondage, if you die in fear, if you die in depression, trust me, tochi making eri Katonda. Era osigala mu busibe obwo ng'olinda judgment day.
Wow.
Kati after that happening to me nga mmaze okiraba kinyonyodde kye kitegeeza ekigambo kyewandikamu ago amazzi nga kya muliro. Refute all that you don't want in your life, like a finger wrote in that water. With fire, refute all that you don't want in your life. Kati refute oba mungamba refute nali simanyi. Okay, I did literature, but in my normal vocabulary, I'd never used the word refute. Yeah. Refute means disapprove whatever you approved mu bulamu bwo. Kyotayagala ki disapproving kuba gwe yakikkiriza. Kati wena bw'amala okuŋŋamba refute jjukira amaze okumpa gavumenti empya meaning I've been given another chance to live. Kati I have to do whatever I did. Kati bino byonna bi depression anxiety nze yabikkiriza kati n'okuddamu okwesa omumwa gwange my will power mbigaane.
Okay.
Kati nenchivaamu ekirooto nenzijukira instruction was refute all that you don't want in your life. Nentandika okusaba nga ngamba I refute death, I refute anxiety, I refute buli kye nali saagala. Muganda wange enkeera yaalwo ng'ebyali binnuma nkyabirabako.
So in other words, Brenda, your power, your thoughts, and what you speak and accept or refuse in your life actually has power on how your life is going to be.
Thank you very much.
And I think it is also resonates with what the Bible says, where it says that this tongue can create or kill.
True.
If you speak positive about yourself in Jesus' name or in the name of God, definitely you're going to have that. So I think it also tells us to be positive about our lives and to speak actually positive about our lives. Brenda, I want to appreciate you for your time. I know why the program started late. I totally understand your sacrifice. I know you are accepting to be here. Me knowing what actually is going on in your life is a big sacrifice, and to not only me, but to people watching this program. Brenda, you just don't know what you're doing, but I told people the day I'll make, the day I'll get 20,000 followers here, 20K, I'll share my depression story. And you talked about Mutundwe. I always pray that God blesses that place. I'll just tell you one thing in my depression story. So I leave home going to Mulago Hospital. Brenda, I was depressed on the way that instead of going to Mulago, I drove to Mutundwe. I'd never been to Mutundwe. I am a Christian. Nze ndi mu Kristayo ntiroga. I know my tell people I'm a Christian that thinks for myself. To so ngamba gende no bakusabire gende no bakusabire. Brenda, I googled Mutundwe. For the first time, I didn't know Mutundwe was close to Wankulukuku because I'm a referee. I've always gone to Wankulu Proficient Games. I never knew even into Mutundwe yao. I went, I packed, I bought a book, I sat beside abakyala abambadde sapatu. I was smartly dressed n'oluzungu lwange n'akajanja. It didn't matter. I sat there from 8 up to 8 p.m. But I'd left to go to Mulago Hospital to work. I never called anyone that I'm not coming. I didn't go that day. And by God's grace, no one even called me. To anyone that has not gone through depression, when you hear someone say it is a battle of death and life, don't even ever think they're acting up or concocting stories. It is only people that have gone through that journey that can explain how it is a personal journey, that you're living with very happy people, but you're only smiling on the face. And the moment someone turns their face away, you go back to your thoughts. I remember asking for a maid at my place what I can do with my life. A maid that I was paying, Namugamba, I want to talk to you. A maid. She even doesn't know. So I totally understand your journey as a person. Each time I think about the journey of depression, to me, it is something that I even don't want to share with people.
True.
I would fill my car with fuel and just drive. The only place of comfort I always had was my daughter. Each time I was with her, I would try to hide the pain because she would always ask me, Dad, are you crying? I'm seeing tears. She was about two years or something. And I didn't want to tell her that I was, but I was. You talked about death. Time came when the only thing that was valuable to me was this girl. And I always ask now, if I die now, what about this girl?
Yeah.
I was a medical people working on other people. Everyone thought I loved working in Mulago Hospital. I would report at 7 and leave at 10 p.m. And people would cry, oh, he's dedicated. People didn't know. I'd even lost myself.
True.
I know so many men that go back home and park the car in the compound and sleep in that car for about 4 hours. And some women say, oh, maybe tayagala kudda waka. Maybe he doesn't want us. Maybe think about other women. All that happened to me. Depression. There is a time I went back home. I put the car in the garage and I forgot to remove the handbrake. So the car starts going back and it falls into the neighbor. So whoever has not gone through depression, count yourself lucky. And when you see people treat their privacy or put boundaries around their lives, it is not a show off. When you see people come here to testify what they go through, it's not that they want to be seen or share what they went through. It's simply because they feel you could be going through the same that you that after hearing their story, maybe you will be fine. But listen to this, friends. At the end of all stories, above creation, there is a God that knows, that listens, that is merciful, and that is ever forgiving. To someone battling depression, anxiety, fear, or anything, watching this program this morning, God got your back.
True.
Do not end your life. Speak to someone. Pray about it. I'm telling you, when God changes your life, you look back and start asking yourself, those are some of the things I remember now. Ningamba, nali nfa kinensi.
That's all right.
You want to end your life for people that are not even going to be annoyed when you die. you want to solve things that God put in your life to change the way you're living. You want to solve them such that you continue living the way you're living. I would call that pride and ego. When things don't go the way opposite how you planned them, always think back, why is this happening? And go back to ask God. To me, it is the spiritual power I subscribe to. I don't know which spiritual power you subscribe to, whoever is watching this. To me, I believe in God and His Son Jesus. That's a spiritual power that I subscribe to. So when things do not go, when things I feel I'm pushing things, I always go back to the spiritual power for direction. And I'm telling you, in that I've always found peace. Brenda, can you give us your last remarks of the day and send greetings to your lovely family? And we shall end this show in the next 3 minutes.
May I just wish everyone well, and I wish everyone meets God. And I don't wish anything like depression and anxiety on anyone. I pray for everyone. If you're battling this situation, there is hope. We are survivors, and God has blessed us, and we have outgrown it, that we can now laugh about the situation. But
Yeah.
though it was not funny in that state,
Yeah.
but we understand you. We are in there with you, and you can also overcome. I send greetings to my lovely husband and my children and my sisters and my big family. Thank you
Yeah.
also for hosting me. Yeah.
You're welcome. Brenda, what do you do for a living now?
I'm a digital creator. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a strategist. Yeah. I do
Yep.
marketing for companies and also work on personal brands. I also own an academy, a skills academy that trains hands-on skills, practical skills for a living.
Yeah.
And also have under Kaina events, I do catering. So I do a lot, quite a lot, but by the grace of God.
Yeah. Again, I want to thank you, Brenda, for having for accepting to come with us and share your personal story. I believe people are going to be changed. I thank your lovely husband for taking care of the children while you're here. I've been seeing them knocking on your door almost every 5 minutes, and thanks for being a great mom that children run to you. From everyone in our studios, I want to thank you for watching, and I want to thank you for those that have sent in comments. Again, if you've not yet subscribed, I kindly ask you to subscribe, to subscribe, to like and comment, and please share this video with someone that may be impacted. Depression, anxiety, fear, and panic attacks are real in our communities, and we just don't know what someone could be going through. So do not be selfish. We share free information, so be generous enough to share it with people that may need to hear this story. Again, thank you so much. My name is Mr.Selfcare, and we happen to be every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. all day from our lovely studios. Next week, we shall be having another guest. But to my friends in Uganda, anytime I will be arriving in the country, and hopefully we shall be able to shoot the videos for next week together in Kampala. To all the football lovers, local football appreciation is happening this week on Friday at Rivonia Suites in Mbuya, and we shall be there recognizing, remembering, and rewarding soccer heroes for the year 2024. If you would love to be part of this fun, please subscribe to www.lfa.com and vote for your favorite candidate to win an accolade, but also to show that we appreciate their contribution. These awards are not about money or anything, but to really say thank you for all the people that have done something for Ugandan soccer. Being a former referee, I totally understand the sacrifice that people go through for this. So from me and everyone, I would love to say thank you for keeping it with us. May God bless you and have a lovely Sunday. Bye.